Jim, I would turn it over to you now to share with us how to use NVDA, the screen reader.
All right, well, thank you very much. It is a pleasure to be here. And today is kind of ironic because a brand new version of NVDA has been released just this morning, early this morning in the wee hours of the morning. And so, of course, I immediately grabbed the new version. It has much better support for Office programs, especially. It's much faster in Word, Outlook, Excel, and PowerPoint, if you use any of those.
Meeting controls.
So it's quite a bit faster, actually, and more reliable. And so to start out, we are on the NVDA. By the way, that is an acronym for Non-Visual Desktop Access. And it started way back in 2006, developed by two visually impaired individuals from Australia. You can read all about them on nvaccess.org. So we want to show you first how you can go to this access and how very simple it is to download this free screen reader. So I'm on the NVDA website, and like most screen readers, you can move around by various web elements. One of the handiest web elements by which to move are headings, and NVDA is no exception. We can use H, the letter H, to move by heading, which we will do right now.
H.
And
blank.
We'll make sure that
meeting controls.
We're in the Zoom meeting, so we need
from Missouri Assistant.
We need to get back over to the
NV Access and 1 NV.
There we are.
Heading level 1 visited link graphic NV Access empowering lives through non-visual access to technology.
Now that voice can be changed. There are a number of voices from which to choose. The voices that come with NVDA, there are 3 or 4. You can also, if you wish, you can purchase voices from Nuance, such as the voices that you might find with JAWS and other screen readers, or you may also choose Eloquence, which is the default voice that comes with JAWS, but those do cost. But the voices that are free are just fine that come with the program. So we'll go ahead and press H.
We believe that every blind plus vision impaired person deserves the right to freely and easily access a computer. Heading level 2.
So NVDA tells us the heading level.
The facts heading level 2.
And it talks about how many people are not able to afford a computer.
Millions of people heading level 3. Technology is the key heading level 3.
And we're just going through the headings on the site.
The issue heading level 3. A free solution heading level 3. How to get involved heading level 2. Hi, we're Mick and Jamie heading level 3. Our manifesto heading level 2.
So we're going to use Shift H to move up.
Hi, how to get involved a free solution heading level 3. We have spent the last 12 years developing the global solution, a free, high-quality screen reader. Accessible to all. Employment. Heading level 2 how to get involved. Link download the NVDA screen reader.
So there's the link to download the NVDA screen reader. Now that's not the only way to get to it, of course, because we can, in fact, use the same command as many other screen readers to bring up a list of all of the links on the page. And that would be the NVDA key. When you use the desktop layout, it's the 0 key on the number pad. So we'll press 0 along with F7.
Elements list dialog. Tree view. NV Access empowering lives through non-visual access to technology. Visited 1 of 185 level 0.
Now, so it tells us there are 185 links. So we may simply press the letter D.
D. Donate 2 of 185 levels. D. Download 5 of 185 level 0.
And there it is. And we can move to the link.
Filter by. Activate. Move to button Alt plus M.
Now I just used the Tab key to move to that link. And
download link.
And I land right on it. I might mention too that with that same hotkey, the NVDA key and F7, you may use that same dialog to move through a page by headings, by form controls, and by many other predefined web elements. It's all in one dialog, which is very unusual because many other screen readers have different hotkeys to use those same web elements. But in NVDA, it's all just one hotkey, NVDA F7, and you can display lists of headings and other elements. Now, before we show you some web content and how well NVDA works on the web, it's kind of important to illustrate some things that you might want to know about so that you can optimize the screen reader to work for you. So from anywhere, we can press the NVDA key, the 0 key on the number pad, and the letter N.
NVDA menu.
So we have several things. Now, there are so many settings here, it would take many hours to go through all of them because there are so many things that can be customized. But
NVDA.
what we want to do, though,
Preferences submenu P. Exit X.
so we have preferences,
Preferences submenu P.
and that is we know there's a submenu, so we'll press the right arrow key.
Settings. S.
So here are a number of settings that we'll just briefly look at so that you know what they are.
NVDA Lisa's. General.
General tells how NVDA will start, whether it will start automatically.
Speech 2 of 14.
The speech settings let you choose which synthesizer
Meeting controls window.
and which voice you'd like to use and the parameters of that voice.
NVDA settings. Braille.
And of course, NVDA supports a number of Braille displays.
Vision 4 of 14.
This is the how the virtual cursor tracks with NVDA. You can enlarge the cursor so that if you can see the screen at all, you can tell where the focus might be located.
Keyboard 5 of 14.
Hey, Jim, this is Eileen.
Yes.
I wanted to just interrupt for 1 second. On the screen that you're sharing, we can see a message box that says internet email. And I'm wondering if it just needs an activation on your end to hit OK.
NV access and meeting controls. ICT messages from Baker Advanced Messages.
I am sorry about that.
NVDA
Not a problem.
meeting controls. ICT talks. Inbox J Fettgather at. Replied from. Reply.
I think what I will do is hopefully
NVDA
close that window, and
157.
hopefully that screen is no longer there.
Well, I'm still seeing a message box from internet email.
NV access
Asking
meeting
for-
accessible. The Smith family. The Smith internet. NVDA NV meet X. The Smith internet email.
That's it right
NVDA.
there. Yep.
Okay, sorry.
You got it. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so we will get back now. Hopefully that will not come up again. I apologize.
NVDA menu.
We were going through just a few of the settings.
Preferences submenu. Set speech dictionaries submenu D. Settings. Error dialog in NVDA settings dialog is already open. NVDA settings. Keyboard. Normal configuration. Dialog. Categories. List. Mouse 6 of 4.
All right, so we have our keyboard where we can reassign hotkeys and so forth.
Review cursor 7 of 14.
The review cursor is the same as the mouse pointer, and so we can adjust how that operates.
Input composition 8 of 14.
Now, the input composition, you can reassign keyboard commands and touch gestures on the screen. NVDA has significant support for tablets, so that if you use a computer where you can use a keyboard or like one of these hybrid devices, then it works very well with input gestures and the touch screen.
Object presentation 9 of 14.
Now, this has to do with the way that NVDA will identify controls.
Browse mode 10 of 14.
Browse mode will govern how NVDA works on the internet. But what I really wanted to show you, and I think the most important setting,
Document formatting 11 of 14.
now there are about 30 items here, some of which you will want to check, some of which you'll want to uncheck.
Document formatting property page. The following options control the types of document formatting reported by NVDA.
Now, by the way, this also will affect how NVDA works on the web, and that's why I wanted to point this out, because it is so important. What you check or uncheck will have a profound impact on the way web pages will read.
Font size checkbox not checked. Alt plus S.
Now, many of these are not checked, and we won't go through all of them, but we want to make sure, obviously, that headings are checked, links are checked, block quotes, that would be a personal decision. You may want to have that unchecked. The point of it is that after all these settings, there's an OK button, and then you would have to save your settings under the configurations menu. But this dialog really has a significant impact on the way NVDA reads on the web. So that's why I felt that it was important to illustrate that. There are many other settings. The other one is, of course, the huge, significantly large manual under the Help menu. It'll take you to a web page with hundreds of links, a very well organized manual, and plus, if you don't mind spending a little bit of money, you can pay for some electronic or audio training about NVDA as well. But if you read the manual, it's written very well and has been translated into dozens of languages, and so it's very well written, and it's right in the Help menu. So,
Font name checkbox. Categories. List. Touch interaction 12 of 14. Windows 10 OCR 13 of 14.
now, the Windows 10 OCR, there is a way to get a visual description and have NVDA do optical character recognition, not from a flatbed scanner, but from an application or a web page. It's a little bit tricky to set up, but it does work, and it is well documented.
Advanced 14 of 14.
And that is, they have a warning, don't do this, don't go into this dialog unless you're instructed to do so by somebody who knows what they're doing. And there's a checkbox that you have to check to make sure that's the case. So there's 14 categories, and I just wanted to go through those briefly so that when you set up NVDA, you would know that they're there, and you can always get to that menu with the NVDA key and the letter N. So we can go ahead now and dismiss this menu.
NV access and one more.
And get back to what we were working on. So, as we've stated, we can move by headings, which works very well, not on all web pages, but when that key is available, then that works very well. I might mention too that, like many other screen readers, NVDA does have a help mode. So if we press the NVDA key and the number 1 key from the top row,
Input help on.
now we can simply press keys to find out what they do.
H. Moves to the next heading. I. Moves to the next list item. O. Moves to the next embedded object. M. Moves to the next frame. R. Moves to the next radio button.
So this is very helpful. You get an interactive tutorial.
A. Moves to the next annotation.
Which is excellent. So you can always turn that on just to remind yourself about commands and turn it off with the same hotkey, NVDA key and the number 1 from the top row.
NVDA +1. Input help off.
And we have input help. Input help has now been turned off. So we have several documents and web pages that we can show you, and one of the ones that we have are a couple of web pages that illustrate and demonstrate the same web page, but they have an inaccessible version and an accessible version. So this might be an interesting way to see just how well NVDA does with these types of pages.
Accessible University Demo Site Accessible Version Document.
Now, this is the accessible version, and of course everything works beautifully on here. So let's see if we can find the inaccessible version of this website.
Meeting controls. Accessible University Demo Site Inaccessible Version.
Okay, so this website has many flaws that no screen reader will be able to remediate very well. So we'll use Control Home to go to the top of this page.
Link About.
And we have some items here.
Link Academics. Link Admissions. Link Visitors. Link O Student wins Engineering Award for Talking Robot Sign Language Interpreter. Clickable. Clickable.
Now we have some
Clickable.
unlabeled links here.
Clickable.
So they have not been marked properly.
Clickable. Welcome. Accessible University, is a fictional university, and this is its fictional homepage. Page is designed to demonstrate a variety of common web design problems that result in visitors with disabilities being unable to access the content or features of a web page.
Now, I'm just going to use the down arrow key.
Heading inaccessible design of this page sends the opposite message. Graphic horizontal line graphic.
All right, so we have a graphic that is unidentified, unlabeled, not helpful at all.
Bienvenido.
And we have a language barrier here. We have a Spanish language that NVDA is not able to read properly.
Accessible Universidad, UA. Web. Una institution to be. Graphic horizontal line graphic.
Now we have another unidentified graphic.
Can you spot the barriers? There are at least 18 accessible. Visited link, click here. To see a more accessible version of this same page.
Now we do have the accessible version as well. Now the first thing that's slightly off kilter here is that
visited link, click here. For a cheat link, click here. Graphic horizontal line graphic. Enrollment trends.
Now this is a table that's coming up, and normally tables can be read by most screen readers when they're marked up properly. As you navigate by row and column, you will hear either the row heading or the column heading. That's the way that accessible tables are designed. And as with most screen readers, we can press the letter T, like table, to go into this table.
Table with 5 rows and 13 columns, row 1, column 1.
Now, this is good. We are immediately told how many rows and how many columns. And we can use the hotkeys Control, Alt, and any of the 4 arrow keys to navigate this table. And when we do that,
row 2, column 2 CS, column 3 ANG.
Now, these are the headings.
Column 4 Eco.
Now, that's very well. The headings are right there. So we'll go down further into the table with Control, Alt, and the down arrow key.
Row 343, column 3 126, column 284, column 1 total, column 284, row 489.
So this is not good.
Column 384.
We're hearing lots of numbers, but we're not getting any context.
Row 516, column 1% female, column 211, column 316.
And once again, we're having some statistical information read, but we have no context. We really have no way of knowing what we're reading.
Edge of table,
So
percent female.
we would have to do a lot of navigating around to try and figure out just what's happening. So the table is unfortunately inaccessible. The language, now depending on the voices that you have installed for NVDA, the language will switch and read correctly. I'm not certain whether this specific voice will do that, but we will find out.
Column 753, column.
So we're just going to try to get out of this table.
Required fields are in blue.
Okay, so here we are with
Apply now.
an application form. Required fields are in blue. If you cannot see the screen, that is not going to be helpful.
Edit blank.
So when we pressed the tab key, NVDA went into what they call review mode, where you may tab through, and we hear the edit box, but we don't hear any label for the edit box.
Edit blank.
And once again, we're not getting any feedback about what we're supposed to be typing here.
Edit blank. Edit blank. Edit blank. Edit blank. Checkbox not checked.
Now, We know this is a checkbox, but we have no idea what we're checking because it's not reading the label for the specific checkbox. So we would have to up and down arrow and really navigate the page in a granular way that would be very time consuming if we were to try to do that.
Checkbox not checked. Checkbox not checked. Checkbox not checked.
We're just pressing the tab key.
Checkbox not checked. Checkbox not checked. Edit blank.
Now, we happen to know here.
Blank. Blank. Please enter the 2 words you see below, separated by a space.
So that is not going to help us out. There are 2. This is an inaccessible CAPTCHA verification system. They want us to prove that we're not a robot, and we would like to comply, but we cannot because the edit boxes are simply not
Edit blank.
reading.
Blank. Blank. Submit button.
There's nothing to submit because we cannot read the edit box.
Link graphic Creative Commons like accessible university by link button submit edit. Please enter the 2 words used security test.
Yep.
Checkbox not checked. Spanish.
Now, if we were to up and down arrow, it is reading the information to us regarding the checkboxes.
Checkbox not checked. Psychology.
But it would be a lot better to be able to tab and hear the names of the various disciplines or classes as we're tabbing through. So now they suggest there are 18 barriers, and indeed there are some. I'm certain there are some visual barriers as well. We're just highlighting the ones that are the most egregious errors on this page that make it very difficult for a screen reader user to navigate and register for classes and figure out what's going on here. So now we will go ahead and navigate over to the accessible version and find out just what kind of differences there may be.
Accessible university demo site accessible version in.
Now this is the accessible version, so we'll use Control Home to go to the top of this page.
Out of table heading level 1 graphic accessible university.
Now, first of all, I had forgotten to point out that the other page had no headings. If I were to have pressed the letter H.
Accessible university, accessible psychology.
In fact, I'll go ahead and do that right now.
No next heading. No previous heading.
So there are no headings on the inaccessible version. We always look for headings. That is the second most common way of navigating a page is through the list of links and also through the headings that are available. So
accessible.
We're going to go ahead and go to
heading
the version now, and we will press the letter H.
Featured story slideshow heading level 2. Welcome. Heading level 2. Bienvenido. Heading level 2. Can you spot the barriers? Heading level 2. Oh, enrollment trends heading level 2.
And we'll get back to that table in a moment.
Apply now. Heading level 2. Security question heading level 3.
So this is much better. And we will see
heading level 1 graphic accessible university.
As we arrow down now, we will see some menus that we did not have access to before. They simply were not accessible.
Button collapsed show menu keyboard shortcuts.
So this is a relatively new type of menu that screen readers can announce whether menus are expanded or collapsed. So if we go down to the next menu.
Menu bar, menu item, sub menu about. Menu item, sub menu academics.
Let's try this menu, and we're just going to hit enter to be able to access the academics menu.
Degree programs 1 of 4.
So we now know that there are 4 programs.
Oh, faculty 2 of 4. Distance learning 3 of 4. Libraries 4 of 4.
And we will circle back
From
around.
Patricia C.A. Roll.
We'll circle back around.
Degree programs 1 of 4. Oh, faculty 2 of 4.
Now, if we want to get out of that menu, it's very simple. We can simply press the escape key.
Academics sub-menu 2 of 4. Degree programs 1 of 4.
And it looks like we have to press the NVDA key and the space bar. And that puts us back into browse mode where we can now browse normally.
Menu item O faculty. Menu item distance learning. Menu item libraries. Out of menu menu item submenu admissions.
Now we have another menu that has a submenu, and none of these showed up on the inaccessible version. They simply weren't labeled and they weren't happening. They were not announced. So
menu item submenu visitors. Out of menu bar heading level 2 featured
Jim?
story slideshow.
yes.
I can hear you just fine. I'm just doing a sound check. I got a message from one of the participants that there was no sound coming through. So I wanted to ask folks in the chat box, could you write if you hear sound or if you do not hear sound?
From Brenda Whitlock to everyone, I can hear fine alert. From Christine Roof to everyone, yes I can hear him alert.
Thank you, ladies, for replying. Go ahead, Jim. I'll type back separately to her.
Okay, and hopefully the sound of NVDA is coming through. Otherwise, I would...
From Patricia CA roll to everyone, thank you. We'll check my settings alert. From Tim Lehman to everyone, I can hear fine. Alert.
Thank you, Jim. You can go ahead and proceed. I appreciate
All right.
that.
Just want to make sure NVDA is coming through as well. I wouldn't want to do a monologue.
Oh, yeah, no, it's loud and clear. You're good.
All right. So we have quite a few menus here. As I say, access to menus that on the inaccessible version would simply not be available to us. And so this is tons of information that would be hidden. All we had was click here or clickable, and it was unidentified, and it was truly unfortunate. So we could go into some of these menus.
Menu bar menu item submenu visitors.
So if we go into visitors, we can hit enter on that.
Events 1 of 3.
Oh, this is very nice. And we heard NVDA make that little sound to let us know that we've gone out of browse mode.
Parking 3 of 3. Campus map 2 of 3. Events 1 of 3.
And so we could easily access any of these. Now, to go back to regular browse mode, we can press the NVDA key with space. And that is what we would, that's kind of our normal operating mode as we're browsing the web. So all of these menus are great. All of the submenus open beautifully, and you can easily navigate around just by using typically the arrow keys. On some web pages, you may need to use the tab key. It depends on how it's set up.
Menu item parking. Out of menu bar. Now showing slide 1 of 3.
Now we have information.
Patricia CA roll has left the meeting alert.
We have information about slides.
Graphic robot with a friendly face, assembled with various scraps of hardware, and mounted on an old graphic deck talk speech synthesizer.
Now this is a very nice thing to have, a graphic with an alt tag, alt text or alternative text that may not be...
Patricia CA roll has joined the meeting alert.
That text may not be visible on the screen if you're not using a screen reader, but if you are, then the alternative text or alt text is obviously extremely useful and very helpful. So whenever web page authors add alt tags to any pictures or graphics, obviously we are highly supportive and appreciative of that. So we'll go ahead and down arrow again now.
O student wins engineering award for talking robot sign language interpreter. Link students engineering award. Button graphic previous slide. Button graphic next slide.
So these are nice. These buttons are perfectly labeled to explain about these slide presentations.
Button slide 1. Button slide 2. Button slide 3. Heading level 2 welcome.
Now here's their welcome message.
Accessible University. Lisa Sohn has left the meeting alert.
And we have the same, pretty much the same information as before.
Page is designed with inaccessible. Heading level 2 bienvenido.
Now,
Accessible Universidad, UA, es una universidad ficticia.
Now, I'm sorry to say that
157.
we had we used a different screen reader before, and it was able to switch languages on the fly. And it appears that with this specific
From Missouri Assistive.
NVDA voice, that NVDA is not switching into Spanish, which is what we're reading here on the page, but it's not being rendered properly in an audible way. Now, I could take the time to try some different voices, and I suspect that one of the speech synthesizers called eSpeak that's pretty hard to understand, but it would probably do language switching on the fly. So that's the only thing that we don't have with this specific voice that we're using right now. But we know that we have a table, and as before, we can press the letter T to be able to get into this table.
Enrollment trends table with 5 rows and 13 columns. This table shows enrollment over a 2-year period by subject and gender. The academic years.
Now, this is very nice. We already have a table description as we pressed the letter T, we landed on row 1, column 1, but we have a nice description. So again, we can use the control key, the alt key, and our arrow keys.
Not in a table cell. 2007-08. Not in a table cell. The year columns. Rows. Caption O enrollment trends. Row 1 column 1.
Now we're in the right place.
2007-08 CS column 2 through 7. 2007-08 column 1. 2008-09 edge of table. 2008-0.
Now, so those column headings read before just fine, as long as we were focused upon the heading. But the moment we left that area, they were not read properly at all. So let's use Alt, Control, down arrow and see what happens.
Row 2 2008-09 CS column 8 CS. 2007-08 SPA column 7 SPA. 2007-08 Psi column 6 Psi. 2007-08 PHY column 5 PHY.
Now, there's a lot of abbreviations for some of these classes and disciplines, but if you read and listen carefully, it becomes pretty clear what they are, and the table is being read beautifully.
2007-08 Eco column 4 Eco. 2007-08 Eng column 3 Eng. 2000 column 1.
Now later on down the table here, we have some more statistical information. So we want to Control Alt down.
Total row 3 total. Percent male row 4% male.
Now if we go to the right.
2007-08 CS column 289.
So we have
edge of table.
What we have
percent male. Percent female row 5% female.
So we have two columns, percent male and percent female. I'm sorry, the rows. And before, in the inaccessible version of that table, none of this information was being read. So what we have are the percentage of males and females enrolled in each of these classes. So
percent female row 5% female.
So if we Control Alt to the right.
2007-08 CS column 211. 2007-08 Eng column 316. 2007-08 Eco column 427.
So the percentages are read out. They're read out kind of quickly, but we have a class, the year, and the percentage, the gender percentage for each class. And we can Control Alt up arrow.
Percent male row 473. 2007-08 Eng column 384. 2007-08 Eco column 473. 2007-08 PHY column 569.
So we have percentages of everyone. We have the class being announced, the year, and it's all very accessible and beautifully designed to be able to be read by NVDA. And before, we didn't have any of that. So we had a couple of other accessibility issues with this website. And we're just going to rapidly down arrow to get out of this table.
2008-09 Eco column 1031. 2008-09 Psi column 1278. Name required.
Okay, so here we go with, it was probably a faster way to do that.
Heading level 2 apply now.
Okay, so we are at the heading level, and that was not a heading before, but we could have pressed H if we wanted to apply now.
Name required.
So we will now.
Name required. Edit required invalid entry blank.
All right, well, I've not written, it's an invalid entry because I've left the box blank, but at least now we are hearing the labels for the edit boxes the way we should.
Email, required, edit required invalid entry blank.
So it's not in blue or it's not marked up in any specific visual way, but we're hearing everything that we should be hearing in these edit boxes.
City, edit blank. State/province, edit blank. Zip/postal code, edit blank. Country, edit blank. Desired major, S grouping computer science checkbox not checked.
Now, this is what we really need to hear. Before we check these checkboxes, you may remember that all we were hearing was checkbox unchecked. But now as we use the tab key, we know for which classes we're signing up.
Engineering checkbox not checked.
And we can simply hit the space bar.
Checked. Accessible University Demo Site Accessible Version Document. Engineering. Accessible University Demo Site Accessible Version Document. Checkbox checked. Engineering. Physics checkbox not checked. Psychology checkbox not checked. Checked.
So we can check more than one of these. Obviously, with checkboxes, you may check as few or as many as you like.
Spanish checkbox not checked. Sunday, bird, Friday. Which of these is not a day? Edit required invalid entry blank.
Now here's our accessible test to prove that we are not a robot. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit escape because I want to be able to read this part of the text.
Sunday, bird, grouping checkbox not checked. Out of grouping heading level 3 security question. Sunday, bird, Friday. Which edit require Sunday, bird, Friday. Which of these is not a day?
Okay, well, so this is perfect.
Sunday, bird, Friday. Which of these is not a day? Edit required invalid entry blank.
So obviously we would type in the word bird. That's not a day of the week. This is a perfectly accessible CAPTCHA to prove that we're not a robot. And we've seen more and more of these websites use this type of this type of method to verify people, but not nearly as many as there should be.
Submit button.
And there is our typical submit button that we had before on the other site as well.
Link graphic Creative Commons license.
So between the language, which the language didn't work quite so well, but all of the buttons for the various slides, the headings, the checkboxes, the tables, they were so drastically different and had a profound impact on our ability to navigate this website. So that is
Heading.
pretty much the way that any competent screen reader would work on an accessible site. Now, NVDA can also be used to read accessible content in Microsoft Word documents as well, because they can have links, pictures, tables, and any of the elements that we could typically find on the web could be found in a Word document as well. So we're going to take a look at a couple of Microsoft Word documents.
Accessible unit meeting controls. The Smith Family Holiday Letter. Docs read only compatibility mode Word. The Smith.
Now we have a document here. We have two Microsoft Word documents. In Microsoft Word, you can use Control F6 when you have two or more Word documents opened to go back and forth among all open Word documents.
The Smith Family Holiday Letter. After. Docs. The Smith Family Holiday Letter. Docs read only compatibility mode Word. Microsoft Word document edit multi-line. The Smith Family Holiday Letter.
So we'll go ahead and go through this letter.
Greetings to you, friend. Another great year has come to an end. From Missouri. Blank. 2020 highlights. Oldest daughter and husband welcome a new child into the family. Graphic youngest daughter graduates with a master's in engineering.
So then we have a nicely labeled graphic.
In 2021 we have a list of things we want to do. Take a flying balloon ride.
Now, This is
Visit France. Drive Route 66. Not in table. Not in table. Watch the sunrise on. Here is the travel agency we will be using for that big trip tour if you want to come along. Mention our names. Out of link, our travel schedule is in the table below.
okay. So the table below. So, and there was a link there also. Now, I'm going to go ahead just to see how this works with NVDA in browse mode, because a Word document can look just like a web page to a screen reader. So we'll go ahead and press the letter H.
No next heading.
No headings. Let's go ahead and bring up a list of the links in the page.
Elements list dialog. Tree view. https://www.bookmundi.com/France/tour operators 1 of 1 level 0.
So that's the only link in the page. But unfortunately, it's a fairly cryptic sounding link. We really can't tell where it's going to take us. So we'll look at the other version as well. And we will go ahead and see if we can read this table by pressing. We're going to make sure that we're in browse mode and press the letter T.
Table with 5 rows and 3 columns, level 1, row 1, column 1, date. Table with 5 rows and 3 columns, level 1, row 2, column 1, 8/2/21. Column 2, New York. Column 3, fly from JFK Airport to Paris. Row 3, Eiffel Tower photo stop. Column 2, Paris. Column 1, 8/3/21. Row 4, 8/4/21.
So we have the dates in the first column, and then the itinerary goes on in columns 2 and 3.
Column 2, Paris. Row 5, Paris.
Now we'll find out if that reads more accessibly in the alternative version of this document. We'll be able to find out pretty
Out of table blank. Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
And that's pretty much
Bill and Margie Smith.
pretty much the end of that document. And
Happy New
there was a link in the middle of the document that went to the website where you could also book a trip. So let's take a look then at the alternate version of this document. Control F6.
The Smith family holiday letter. After.
And we'll use Control Home to go to the top.
Out of table heading level 1 spelling error T. The Smith family holiday letter.
And there may have been
Spelling error. T. H. E. T. T. T.
I think what happened is I had inserted an extra letter by accident.
Heading level 1 page 1 section 1. T. Heading. The Smith family holiday letter. After. Docs read only compatibility mode. T. H. T. Heading level 1 The Smith family holiday letter.
Okay, so we fixed the spelling error. Anyway, we'll go into browse mode again. And this time we'll bring up the list of links in this document. We know there's only one.
Elements list dialog. Tree view. Bookmundi 1 of 1 level 0.
So it went by kind of quick, but it said
B. O. O. K. Space. M. U. N. D. I.
So it read the name of the link. At least we know that it's a link and not a cryptic URL, but a link that says book. So we can
Bookmundi.
book by simply hitting enter on that link, and it will open the web page of that URL, and we'll be there ready to book our reservation to Paris. So we'll go ahead and hit escape.
The Smith family holiday.
We'll make sure that we're in browse mode, and we'll hit the letter H to see if there are any headings.
2020 highlights heading level 2.
Now this is very nice, especially, now this is a very short document, but I've seen entire manuals that either had headings or did not have headings. And when it's a Word document with headings and you turn on browse mode, it makes a huge difference in being able to navigate and find, for especially like in a manual. And this, of course, is true whether it's on the web or whether it's a Word document.
No next heading.
So that's the only heading, just one heading in the document. And we'll go to the table.
Table with 5 rows and 3 columns, level 1, row 1, column 1, date. Row 2, 8/2/21. Location column 2 New York.
Ah, this is better
Event column 3 fly from JFK Airport to Paris.
because it's reading the column headings, event,
Location column,
location,
date column
and
1
date. So it's not that it would be fairly easy to figure it out, but it's very nice, to, especially in a table if you had lots and lots of columns, you've got to have those column titles read. So this is beautiful because
row 38/3/20. Location column 2 Paris. Event column 3 Eiffel Tower photo stop.
so that is excellent. And so this table is designed correctly with the column headers designated as column headers in the way the table was designed. And when you're setting up a table in Word, there is a specific checkbox that you can check when you're creating a table to make that happen. I think that was all the
Page 1 section. Blank. Table with 5 rows. Out of table. Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
and that
Bill and Margie Smith.
that is pretty much all of the accessibility issues, and they certainly didn't make the document unreadable, but it made it a lot more fun and easy to navigate when those accessibility barriers were eliminated and we were able to read the table and the graphics and the links and so forth. It just made it a much more pleasant experience.
The Smith family.
Hey, Jim, this is Eileen. Would you be able to review again the keyboard steps that you take to navigate the Word document with NVDA?
Absolutely. So navigating a Word document in either version,
The Smith family holiday letter. After. The Smith family holiday letter. After. Docs read only compatibility mode Word. Microsoft Word document edit multi-line page.
now
Heading level 1 The Smith family holiday letter.
we are in, if we started typing right now, we would start inserting text into the document, which we do not want. So in order to make our hotkeys active, we must go into browse mode with NVDA, with the NVDA key and the space bar. And then we hear that beep. Now that lets us know that we cannot edit this document. We're not able to edit it, nor do we want to. We want to navigate the document. So whether we're on the web or whether we're in a Word document, NVDA plus space, you'll hear that beep, you'll know you're in browse mode. So we can press H for heading.
2020 highlights heading level 2.
And
No next heading.
no next heading, so that's the only heading. We'll go to the top.
Heading level 1 The Smith family holiday letter.
Now, we know we're still in browse mode, so we'll go ahead and press the letter T for table.
Table with 5 rows and 3 columns. Level 1 row 1 column 1 date.
And we know that each one of these column headings is labeled correctly. So to go to the actual list of events, we'll go ahead and Control Alt down arrow.
Row 28/2/21. Location column 2 New York. Event column 3 fly from JFK Airport to Paris. Row 3 Eiffel Tower photo stop. Location column 2 Paris, France. Date column 18/3/21.
So all we had to do was hold down the Alt key and the Control key and use all 4 arrow keys to navigate in the table. Now it might be interesting to see if NVDA will read the same way when we're not in browse mode.
Table with 5 rows and 3 columns. Level 1 row 3 location column 2 Paris, France. Event column 3 Eiffel Tower photo stop. Row 4 Louvre Museum. Location column 2 Paris. Event column 3 Louvre Museum. Location. Date column 18/4/21.
And in fact, it did a fine job. We didn't have to be in browse mode, but the nice thing about being in browse mode is that we won't accidentally type while navigating the table, because the document is frozen or kind of in stasis as we're navigating with the various hotkeys. And once again, of course, we can bring up the list of links.
Elements list dialog. Tree view. Bookmundi 1 of 1 level 0.
Now, one thing I might point out here is that in this same dialog, if we press the right arrow key, we should be able to get a list of headings.
Bookmundi. Filter by from Missouri Assistive Technology to everyone. Feel free to add a question here for Jim before we end today. Alert. Filter by. Edit Alt plus Y blank. Activate but move to button. Cancel button. Type. Grouping. Links radio button checked Alt plus K.
Now, this, I wanted to point this out because I alluded to this earlier, but whether we're on the web or whether we're in a Word document, when we press NVDA plus F7, we can navigate by, we have the list of links. We can also right arrow though.
Headings radio button checked Alt plus H.
So
Annotations radio button checked Alt plus A.
now most of these will be empty, of course, because there are no annotations.
Charts radio button checked Alt. Errors radio button checked Alt plus E.
So we can even bring up a list of spelling errors. So this would be specifically for Word, but it's just magnificent how we can choose by which element to navigate just in this one dialog box by choosing any one of these radio buttons. Now these are going to be specifically for Word.
Links radio button checked Alt plus K.
And then we get back to links. So I just wanted to point this out as a very significant strength of this particular screen reader. It works very well. Well, I've demonstrated how to download NVDA, a little bit of going through the menus, especially the ones that you'll really want to adjust and the ones to which you want to pay the most attention, how to use many of the web commands. We saw an accessible and an inaccessible website. We saw the huge difference it made. And we looked at a couple of Word documents. And all of this works just beautifully with NVDA. It can be installed on any Windows 10 computer. You don't have to have administrative privileges. It takes about 3 minutes to install. And you can even, one of the choices is that you can create a portable USB version. So guess what? You can take NVDA in your pocket. You can take it to a library. You can take it to a college and run it. And because it doesn't need administrative support to install, or it doesn't mess with the video card, it's going to install just fine, no matter where you are. So that is all I have for this particular presentation regarding NVDA, unless there are any questions.
Thanks, Jim. Feel free to add questions in the chat box.
From Christine Roof to everyone. Good job. Thanks, Alert.
This is Brenda. Thank you, Jim. That was great. I actually didn't realize that you could use the NVDA as a USB portable version. So that was really helpful, especially too.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry I haven't mentioned that. It's right there in the tools menu. It says make a portable copy, and it will literally walk you through the steps of installing NVDA onto a thumb drive. It is amazing. It works beautifully.
Great. Well, thank you. If you are welcome to ask a question if you have one. Otherwise, this concludes our session.
Enter. End meeting or leave meeting. Leave meeting button. To activate, press space bar.
All right. Hearing or seeing none. Brenda says, thanks, Jim,
Thanks, Jim.
to everybody. And
All
we
right.
do want to thank you for your time.
Christine Roof has left the meeting.
Christine Roof has left the meeting alert. Tim Lehman has
Thank you,
left the
everybody,
meeting
for
alert.
joining us.
Brenda Whitlock has left.
Thank you now.